right, let's move over to the defense, where they lose three of their top four tacklers from 2023, and linebacker Darren Anders, who seems like he had been there forever.
Yeah, he was on the faculty by the time he left.
Cornerback Jalen Husky and Devon Ferguson. And like I said, for the first time in forever, they're going to have to kind of get a new man in the middle of that defense to kind of replace Anders. Who can we kind of expect to man that middle linebacker role in 2024?
Yeah, I think that the job was won by Brooke Horn, who was the backup, and I think we can figure that out because the guy under him on the depth chart went in the portal after spring practice. So usually,
that's usually a good sign. Yes. They didn't win the job.
Yeah, you didn't come out like you thought you were going to come out with, right? And and he's been a solid player. Darren Anders and he actually went in the portal and came back a couple of years ago. He is somebody who just was unbelievably solid in there. But we do have we have Joseph Sipp Jr., who I think is going to be effective on the left linebacker, and one guy that we lost you didn't mention was Cassius Howell, who was our sack artist
linebacker,
and really was just outstanding, and he made a bunch of huge, and he's going to Texas A&M. We are going to get back Demetrius Hardiman, who was 2 years ago our big pass rush guy, and was injured in the Michigan game and missed the rest of the season, but he's going to be back, and I think we're going to be hopefully he'll be able to step into the role that Howell played, and be able to get us. The defense last year, and the real story to the success the team had was creating turnovers. We had such a great turnover margin. We were fifth in yards per play and third in scoring on offense, and that's because we were getting some field position from the turnovers. So hopefully we'll be able to get that. We also had to change our defensive line coach left to go to Rutgers, and we have a new coach coming in there. And it's Cornell Brown, who actually played in the I think he did some down in Virginia, right? I think
he came from Virginia.
Yeah. So he's the D-line coach now. He worked with Leffler when they were at Virginia Tech, and so he'll be in there. He's certainly got some experience. They were the guy we had before was really popular, Julian Campini. He went to, like I said, Rutgers, and he was somebody who was, and one of these younger roll around in the dirt type coaches, and since the end of the season, we've had a couple other linebackers go, and so I think the defense is going to be a challenge, and but overall, it's been the offense that's been causing us the problems, keeping us from winning. Not that it's always terrible, and so I think I'm confident that I'm hopeful that they'll be able to keep those guys going. We did bring in a couple of D-backs in the portal, and we're hopeful that those guys, three of them actually, so those guys will be able to slip in. Husky went to Maryland, so he was a really good player we discovered. So, and another guy I think might be primed, who really came on late in the season, is Avi McGarry, who's a Sam linebacker who he'll have one more year left, and he seems to have taken his time to really get ready to play.
So we kind of talked a little bit about the linebackers. What about the defensive line? In recent years, they produced current Green Bay Packer Carl Brooks. Was there anyone that kind of stood out, on that defensive line? And, got to ask the question, it's not likely at a G5, but is there another Carl Brooks type coming down the pipeline?
Well, I wish. Boy, what a player he was. And again, one of these guys we pick up because, he maybe didn't have the greatest resume coming out of high school, but and Coach Leffler said when Leffler got here, he said, if you'd have told me that guy was going to be a captain, I would have told you you're out of your mind, right? And yet it turned, he grew up, right? Which is what you're supposed to do in college, and it's kind of environment you want for any of your students, right? So the line is actually, not in too bad a shape, and we have most of the top flight guys back, and I thought we performed pretty well in terms of controlling the line of scrimmage. Plus, we get Hardiman back. He's a sort of of a hybrid and linebacker. You can never tell anymore what those specifically are. But, Dontrez Brown and Anthony Hawkins and Ali Saad and Jordan Porter and even Billy Roberts, who came on a little bit late in the season. We're going to have some pretty solid play up front. And just like on offense, if you're getting blown off the ball, you have no chance in the sport of football, right? If you can hold the blocks, then your linebackers can make some plays. And if you can get some pressure, it's a whole heck of a lot easier to be a cornerback for sure.
We talked a little bit about the cornerbacks. You lost the two All-MAC performers in Husky and Ferguson, and you talked about some guys you thought that might step up there. There's one defensive back that I'm a big fan of. He's a transfer, and that was safety CJ Brown. I guess 2 years ago he had a 100+ tackle season. I don't know what happened with him last year, but for whatever reason he kind of fell out of favor there, and he ends up at Bowling Green. Have you heard anything about him and what maybe his role might be for Bowling Green?
Yeah, it's interesting. He was not he's from up in Michigan. We stole him from a MAC school. We always like that. So I would think that he would be somebody we would definitely be looking for, right? And that's a classic situation, right? So he's at NIU and he was all MAC, right? And then he disappears.
And then he just fell off the face of the earth last year.
And there's a perfect place for him, right? Where Ferguson was in the back of that defense, right? And Davon Ferguson was a really good player. And I expect Davon not to get drafted, but I expect him to get a UDFA, deal on Saturday or Sunday when they get around to that. So CJ Brown, I think, has a lot of potential and would be again, is a proven player, and whatever reason they lost interest in him, and hopefully we can fit him in there, and because it's definitely a position of need for sure.
All right. If you had to pick one defensive player to have a breakout type season in 2024, who would it be?
Yeah, I would go with Avi McGarry at the Sam linebacker. He was really, hearing his name called a lot towards the end, and I think he's going to be I think he's got the ability to really move in there. And again, you rotate your linebackers a lot. There's plenty of room for guys to be moving in and out. So that would be my pick he's also an outstanding special teams player too. So I believe he'll make a big contribution this year.